You know, for almost half a century now, a single 72-second radio blast from deep space has been one of astronomy's greatest unsolved mysteries. I mean, it was powerful, it was incredibly precise, and it has never, ever been heard from again. This is the story of the WOW signal, a cosmic cold case that really challenges everything we think we know about our place in the universe. So in this explainer, we're going to trace this whole cosmic detective story right from the very beginning. We'll look at the night of the discovery, we'll decode the signal itself, and explore why its frequency is just so important. Then we'll weigh the evidence for an intelligent origin, rule out all the usual suspects, and finally get into why this mystery still captivates us so much today. Our story kicks off not with some big explosion, but with the quiet hum of a computer printer at the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio. So picture this. It's the dead of night, the world is asleep, and the telescope is just silently doing its job, listening to the background static of the universe. It was just another routine scan on another routine night, or so everybody thought. Now, to really get how strange this is, we've got to jump back 18 years before the signal even showed up. Back in 1959, two physicists published a paper predicting the exact kind of radio signal an alien civilization would probably use to get our attention. It was like a perfect theoretical blueprint for making first contact. Then, on August 15, 1977, the Big Ear telescope picks up a signal that matches that blueprint perfectly. So as the telescope was sweeping across a patch of sky near the Sagittarius constellation, it was suddenly hit with this unbelievably strong, focused burst of radio waves. For exactly 72 seconds, the transmission was recorded, converted into data, and just printed out on a sheet of paper. And there it sat, totally unnoticed, buried in a stack of otherwise boring data logs. So a few days later, an astronomer named Jerry Ehman is sifting through those printouts. And as his eyes are scanning these mundane columns of numbers and letters, something just jumps off the page. A sequence of characters so unusual, so powerful, he just couldn't believe it. He grabs a red pen, circles the anomaly, and writes a single astonished word in the margin. Wow. And just like that, the signal had its name forever. Okay, so what did Ehman actually see that was so shocking? That sequence he circled, 6EQJ5, it might look like some kind of cryptic message, but it's not. It's actually a direct measurement of the signal's incredible intensity. So let's break this code down. The computer measured the signal strength every 12 seconds. On this scale, the numbers 1 through 9 just represent how many times stronger the signal is than the normal background noise. But once it gets past 9, the system just switches over to letters. So as you can see here, A is 10 times stronger, B is 11, and so on. The signal started at a strong 6, then it jumped to E, that's 14, then Q, 26, and it finally peaked at U, which is a staggering 30 times stronger than the background static of deep space. What this data creates is a perfect shape. The signal's intensity shot up to a peak and then fell away symmetrically. This really distinct bell curve pattern is exactly what you'd expect to see if a powerful, targeted transmission from a fixed point in space was sweeping past the telescope's view as our Earth rotated. This wasn't just random noise, it had a definite structure. But the signal's shape? That wasn't even the most incredible part. The truly crucial clue was the frequency it arrived on. You can think of it like a specific radio station, one that some astronomers basically call the universe's main hailing channel. This special frequency is known as the hydrogen line. It's a faint radio signal that's naturally and consistently put out by hydrogen atoms. And since hydrogen is, the most common element in the entire universe, this frequency is a fundamental constant of the cosmos, a universal landmark that any intelligent species out there would eventually discover. And that brings us right back to that prediction from 1959. See, the physicists argued that any advanced civilization would recognize how important the hydrogen line is. They theorized that if you wanted to send a message across the stars, you'd use this quiet, universal frequency, knowing that anyone else listening to the cosmos would almost certainly be checking that exact spot on the dial. The WOW signal was detected at precisely 1420 megahertz. It was a perfect match. It was as if someone, or something, had read the scientific paper on how to call Earth and then actually dialed the number. So let's just lay out the evidence here. We have a powerful signal with a perfect bell curve shape, and it's arriving on the exact frequency scientists predicted for first contact. Let's really look at why this builds such a strong case for an artificial, intelligent origin. So there are 3 key characteristics that make this signal look deliberate. First, it was narrowband. Think of it like a laser beam focused on one tiny frequency. Natural cosmic events are more like floodlights, just spilling broadband noise all over the place. Second, like we saw, its symmetrical shape points to a targeted source. And third, it was a one-time event. It just appeared out of the silence and then it vanished right back into it. Now, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, right? So before anyone could seriously start thinking about an alien signal, they had to rule out every other possibility. For decades, scientists have been trying to find a perfectly normal, boring explanation for what the Big Ear telescope heard that night. And when you compare the WOW signal to known natural events, it just doesn't fit the profile. Natural radio bursts from things like pulsars or quasars, they're typically broadband, they're messy, and they often repeat on a schedule. The WOW signal was the complete opposite. It was narrowband, clean, structured, and it has been completely silent ever since. Okay, so could it have come from Earth? Well, that's highly unlikely. That frequency band is internationally protected for astronomical research, which means nobody is supposed to be broadcasting on it. And even if a signal bounced off some space debris, it would be way too weak. Other theories have been thrown out there, like interstellar scintillation, sort of a twinkling effect that could amplify a weaker signal, but that's never been observed. Even a recent theory about a passing comet has been pretty much dismissed by most astronomers. Every conventional explanation has just hit a dead end. And it's this complete lack of a conventional explanation that really makes the story so compelling. With all the easy answers ruled out, astronomers have spent decades pointing their telescopes right back to that same small patch of sky, just listening, hoping to hear that signal one more time. Time and time again, astronomers have gone back to the source, and each time with more powerful and more sensitive equipment. From huge searches in the late 80s and through the 90s using massive radio dishes, they've done dozens of follow-up observations, and the result has been the same. Every single time. Nothing but the cold, absolute silence of space. The trail has gone completely cold. The signal just remains this cosmic anomaly, a ghost in the machine that appeared for only 72 seconds and then vanished without a trace. To this day, it stands as the single most compelling, most provocative, and frankly, most frustrating piece of potential evidence we have in the entire search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Which leaves us right back where we started, with the ultimate question. Was the WOW signal some kind of freak natural phenomenon that our science just can't explain yet? Was it the final broadcast from a civilization that's now long gone? Or could it have been a simple hello from across the galaxy, a message that is still waiting for a reply? What do you think was out there?